All right. We are live, just a little bit late than our normal time. So those of you who are expecting us right at 3, sorry about that. But we are going live, all set. Awesome, bud. Well, good to see you again, bro.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't make it yesterday. I was
Yeah,
working with a client, so I know
it's okay.
consistency is key. So things are gonna happen, but I'm
Yeah,
here. I'm here.
all
I like
good.
that hat.
Well, thank you. Thank you. This is one of my driver's hats. I really love this look. And I went with my more Mr. Rogers sweater type today.
Yeah, I've been actually wanting to see that movie, Mr. Rogers. Have you seen it?
And I got my get shit done.
Well, Mr. Rogers got
No,
shit
I have
done.
not. I have not. No, I have not. I
It
definitely,
is
I
pretty.
was told somebody else would like that.
Yeah, it's
That I would
pretty
like.
epic.
So
Yeah,
cool.
I saw it. All right, man. Topic
Well,
today.
here's the reason why I wanted to talk about this today. Like, so I had a men's group last night called the Kings of Eden, and these are my brothers, these are my fellow kings that live up in Eden area of Utah. Those of you who are not from Utah, and we get together once a month. And so we generally do like an integrity check in. Like, hey, am I in integrity with myself? Am I in integrity with everybody in the circle? And am I in integrity with everyone like outside of here, right? Like outside. So once we did the check-in, it was kind of flowing to like, well, a few people had just like the word stress kept coming up. So I mean, I feel stressed. It's like, oh, hey, I'm feeling integrity, but man, it's so stressful. It's like it's weighing on me. This other guy's got some really crazy stuff going on. This guy's got stuff going on. I was like, okay, well, there's a theme here. So we're just gonna jump in. So like, what is it that's making you stressful? What's going on? So I want to open up this conversation with everybody. And those of you who are watching in the comments, go here. We're watching them. Go ahead and like um, ask questions, interact with us. We're watching it. So please do. And I've got Dr. Cody on with me. And I really want to talk about, the science of it, where stress is coming from a spiritual, emotional, and mental level. These are the three kind of pillars I wanted to cover today, as well as, of course, like what do we do to help, recover from stress? What are we doing for ourselves? What do we recommend for other people in terms of solutions? So I know we're going to go a little longer today. So I thought we could really
Yeah.
dig in deep here. So first of all, stress. Like, what's your current stress level been today? Let's just rate it. Mine is about a 6.5 today out of 10. 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, 0 being the lowest. So I'm 6.5.
Nice, man. First of all, I love this topic. I love that you picked it and we have more time. I will say my stress level, but I wanna go back to the first thing you said about the group, and it's something I want to go there
Yeah,
because you talked about let's go macro and micro.
cool.
Okay, so if I was to, there's a reason I'm going to tell you. I'll show you my stress level in a second, but I want to say this first. You mentioned with the group asking about are we in integrity?
Hmm.
Okay, I want to let's go universal. Does integrity exist without the human consciousness?
Really macro,
Yeah,
really up there. All right,
right.
I know
So
I know where
here's
you're
this,
taking this. Okay.
but here's this is important though because
Yeah.
integrity is an illusion. It's a polarity. So some might say integrity is. I might really push some buttons on this thing here, but let's just look at it, right? So some might say integrity for many people is like honesty, but the funny thing is integrity, and integrity with what?
Hmm.
So you're going to be
Yeah.
in integrity with some say your morals and values. Well,
Yep.
morals and values are completely made up because morals and values don't exist without human consciousness. So I
Totally.
just want to bring this to people. Let's
Yeah.
say integrity is honesty and truthful, and the opposite is dishonesty and disintegrous, right? So,
Well,
so
let
the
me
funny, yeah, go ahead,
can I
go ahead.
add
Yeah,
something too? So
yeah,
what I didn't expand on at the men's group is what I say is okay. So there's integrity being like honest with yourself, right? Right. Being in integrity means not just doing the thing you say you're going to do for other people, but doing the thing you say you're going to do for yourself when no one's around, right? True
mhm,
integrity.
mhm.
And I expanded to Phil, is there anything in your life that's unspoken, feelings that are erupting, the things you have not dealt with? So are you in integrity with like, hey, are you actually taking care of yourself, and are you are you avoiding anything? So if you're avoiding something in your life, then you're not in integrity, right? So
Yeah,
I'm going to add some micro layer to
yep, yeah,
that's kind of in the spectrum of integrity for the
yeah. Okay, so this is good. This is good because it kind of brings a different angle to this thing. Because what I want to what I want to avoid is creating a fantasy for people. So
yeah.
a fantasy that you're going to be in integrity with everything in your life. I call bullshit. The reason why? is because if you have that fantasy, you're going to attract situations that you will be in out of integrity because everything's in a perfect balance. So I want to just make a different distinction between polarity and a transcendental. So like, because that's what I think you're actually trying to move towards. So for example, I'm honest in my life. For just as honest as I am in my life, I'm also dishonest. But what I want to do is make sure that we all own and love our dishonest parts. Because wouldn't that be what you're talking about? I think the transcendental of maybe appreciation of self is saying, I'm in integrity here, I'm not in integrity here. And that makes me human. So I'm equal. I have equal parts. And that truly is authentic. And I think that's what you were trying to get as authenticity.
100%. And that's how we kick it off, right? Each time is, and if you're not of integrity, if you're not in integrity, totally good. That's great. And that's part of the owning it, and also being manifesting it into the world and saying, hey, I'm not feeling in integrity. And by saying that out loud to a group too of trusted in the trusted circle, it's beautiful. So authenticity of where you are in this moment. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for bringing that together, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you bringing that in.
I wanted to say that first before talking about the stress level, because here's why, and I always set the foundation for this, because you know what creates a lot of fucking stress? Trying to be in integrity.
Yeah, I knew where you were going.
You can only be out of integrity and in integrity equally at all times. So I am truthful and honest. And AJ, I'm really not truthful and dishonest, just as equally. And so I found myself having more stress trying to make myself believe that I was all good and that I was all positive. And so that's what's interesting when we look at appreciation of self is I notice less stress when I own all parts of me and I'm honest about it, right? So I'm like, yep. So, but not so much honest as loving the parts of myself that I've disowned. So I used to disown my dishonest parts and try to show everyone the more honest I am, like the more altruistic, the more good I am, the more I would attract disintegrity or dishonest other parts because I wasn't loving those parts. So
you weren't shining light on those parts.
You
weren't shining love on those parts. So those parts are like, hey, and it's going to act up in your life, right? It's just
there you go,
like shadow work, right? If you're in a dark room and there's a candle in the corner and you walk towards the light, what happens? The shadow gets bigger, right? You walk towards the light, but the shadow gets bigger. It's always going to be there. We've got to acknowledge it and love it. And like you're saying, like balance it out. It's okay if we're in our shadow. It's okay if we're screwing things up. It's okay if we're not in integrity. And that's beautiful. That's what a great baseline for us to start from. So I love it. I love that you brought that in, bro. So what's your stress level now? Or like today, like in general, like overall?
Yeah, when I drop in, I'm probably right now, honestly, at like a 1 out of 10. But also I spent a few this morning letting energy move through me, like letting those parts pass through me. And also I spent some time working with someone who had a pretty big traumatic event in their life financially. And it was interesting because when you get to help others own and move through the stressors, you're working with yourself. So I would say it would probably have been like a 6 or a 7 before I had the call with her, and I'm coaching her, but I'm coaching myself the whole time. Right. So I'm feeling pretty good. I was going to say, this whole concept, I love to really relate some of this stuff into dating, because I'll hear a lot of women and men as well, but women will say, for example, you read dating profiles. This is what it looks like for many. Like I want a man who's honest and integrity, stop lying, don't cheat, be fit, be healthy. And when I see that, I go, you're fucked. You're really fucked. Because you're asking for it because you haven't loved it inside yourself. So back when I was dating, it was so fun to have a great conversation right off the bat. If someone's like, hey, can I just ask you something? Just please don't lie to me. I'm like, man, we are screwed because I lie and I tell the truth equally. And if a man or woman tells you that, this person's being authentic with you, right? Can you tell yourself that? That? I had almost die to finally realize that I'm an asshole just as much as I'm nice. I had to die to figure that out.
Literally, like for those of you who don't know you, just do a quick. You literally did almost die.
Yeah, it was people know what Lyme disease is, but Lyme parasites and black mold. But I had it for so long that I was in bed for 6 months, and I got to the point my organs were shutting down, and I went into this darkness. And in the darkness, it was like I mean, literally my body was shutting down, and I finally let the dark in. That's why you guys hear me talking about this so much, because I was Mr. Positive, Mr. Light, Mr. Enthusiastic, and it almost killed me. And it was because I was shutting out half of God. So what's funny is our theology say, hey, I made heaven and hell, I made good and bad, but I was only accepting the good. But I was shutting out the other half of God when you try to only be good. So that's why that message is so strong here.
Yeah, beautifully said. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so and when it comes to stress, right, there are different types of stresses. And you had started with when people are getting stressed, it's like a lot of them are working their butts off to get in integrity. So when we're talking about this specific subject, right, energy, and that's why I put energy and stress management, because this is not just about stress management. It's also about energy and management, how we're planning our days, what we're trying to cram into our days, how we're showing up, how we're preparing, we're doing our self-care. There's a lot of factors here that help reduce the amount of stress. Let's talk about our individual, like from our own experiences. So what is your, let's say, routines and non-negotiables in your life to help keep stress managed so it doesn't go too much out of hand and get you out of whack?
Okay, yeah, that's beautiful. I love this conversation, man. And I also want to preface this because I don't know what people's definition of stress is, but I want to make sure we understand that stress in physics is a force applied to an object. So I want to make sure we say that stress is not good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue, right? Because if you don't stress your muscles, you don't grow your muscles. If there's no stress in your bones, you have weak bones. So understand that we've now made a distinction. Some people call it distress and eustress, and they make a distinction of good and bad. But just understand that stress inherently is not good or bad. You need stress. So what are we really, sort of defining that as is important, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So physical. But there's a point where it's too much. So you could put 500 pounds in your back and be like, hey man, I thought you told me my bones are getting stronger. Maybe that's too much, right? So there's a certain level of stress where you literally don't want to remove stress. So that's an important piece of this. You want to have the balance of right where, like you could say, proper challenge and support is where you have the most growth. It's where your muscles grow, your bones grow, but it's also where you grow as a being. So having said that, to me, I make sure I stress my muscles and bones and joints every day with some kind of physical activity. So I make sure I stress it. But when we're talking about what you're mentioning is just almost like this emotional stress is my perception. And there's a few things. Number one, make sure that I let energy pass through me. And I want to, maybe you and I spend some time on this, because what the hell does that mean? I've mentioned that to a few people. I didn't know what it was, but I personally, I'll just describe, I sit and I go into the feeling inside my body. The best way to access, AKA the emotion, is to go use the body, because I found that my mind mislabels stress and completely distracts me from actually feeling what it is. So you'll notice if you ask someone, how are you feeling? They go, oh, I'm angry. The next question for yourself is, where do you feel that in your body? And they'll go, oh, well, in my chest. And then I'll ask them, what does it feel like? I guess it's tight, right? Because I want to get the feeling disconnected from the label of anger, because now we can do something with that. So that's step one.
Yep. Beautifully said. Absolutely love that. It's important for us to be, we've had a session before talking about messages from the body, right? Stress is a message for the body. So we've got a spectrum of stress. Stress is important. Stress is always happening. Our bodies are constantly under stress from gravity. We always have stress. Stress and energy management come down to that spectrum, and knowing yourself and listening to your body, listening to what's going on, like you're saying. So as we drop in, why is it important to go into that part of the body and then really start to feel that emotion? Because through the stress, the body's saying, whoa, wait, we're hitting the top here. We're hitting the red line. The body has a message to say, hey, we're feeling anger because of that email that you didn't send to the person that you really need to communicate with, or whatever that may be. Most people spend most of their days working, so a lot of the things are going to be things at work. For example, when you're just like, typing at the keyboard and you're working and you're in the zone, and then an overwhelming feeling comes up, or maybe it's not overwhelming, maybe it's like also a whisper, maybe it's just like a small, but you're like, what was that? I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep working, right? Many people will just like, oh no, I got to be in the zone. I got to be productive. And I want to say, many times I have found that time, that message, that specific thing coming from the body is literally coming up at that time for the email you're writing, or the thing that needs to happen, or the thing you should be doing in terms of guidance of yourself. And so listen to these little I like to call it the voice, these voices that are coming through, these feelings that are coming through, these data points, helping guide your day to having a better balance of stress. Because we can many times up here, ego, mind, really, it can get us. I have the same challenge sometimes. Some days I'm so in my head, even though I did my meditation, my morning stuff, I get back up here and I start trying to figure everything out, and how am I going to do it, and all of these. And then the moment I stop and do nice long breath out, and I do a few of those, it's like, okay, I literally can go from a 10 down to a 2 or a 1 or a 0 that quickly with stress to manage it, right? So that's the energy and stress management part.
Yeah.
Anything to add on to that?
Love that, man. I actually, just even when you did that, I just naturally did that with you. When you did that, it actually commanded the presence of the call and was like, I'm not going to talk. I'm going to be in presence. And so it's interesting just seeing what I perceived when you did it was like the effect in other people, right? It was like when I dropped
powerful, when you breathe, when you hear breath. Yeah. It's
right.
Really
Because I've always been before, the age of 40, I was like super outgoing, and I still have outgoing parts, but like, I thought that's how you communicated, to the universe, but it truly is in the presence that has a louder communication.
Right.
So I love that you said that. Yeah, I love that you bring that distinction of getting to, when I capitalize on that, listening, like you said, maybe you're writing an email, or maybe you're doing something specifically, and you get a message that comes through, and it's so easy to just bypass it and just not listen. I've had many times where I was running my last business, and I would start getting back pain while I was sitting at my desk running it. And dude, it was like weeks where I'm like, man, I got to stretch. This is what our mind does. Oh man, I got to stretch. Maybe I should go get adjusted. Let me go get adjusted. My friend's a chiropractor. So go get adjusted. Man, you know what? I got to put some ice on this now. And I'm doing all these things, except the one thing that I need to really do is stop and go into the pain. And I really mean that when I say that, go into the pain. If we could get a little weird, that energy is inside your body to communicate to you. Aaron James said it pretty clearly. But if I was to communicate almost like an energetic side, right? Yeah, right. The energy is communicating to you. So one thing that's very, very important, I want people to hear this, because after 17 years of working with thousands of patients, I can tell you one very important truth. Your body is a literal transcript of what's going on inside your consciousness. Your body is not a cause. So when you look at symptoms, it's very much like your dashboard on your car. And if your check engine light goes on and you go, oh crap, something's wrong, and you go to the mechanic and they go, Aaron James, you got a bad case of check engine-itis. And you go, well, shit, what's that? How do I fix it? Listen, man, we can fix this. Just put this piece of black tape over it. You don't even notice it. Okay. So that check engine light is headaches, is back pain, is I can't breathe, is what you call anxiety, is whatever symptom you're noticing, right? And then if you go to a doctor who tells you, oh, we got a label for you, just cover it right up with whatever it is, right? And I'm bringing this up not to make this a medical conversation, but just to understand that if you stop and go into the thing, our entire healthcare system is designed to teach you to not feel your pain. And it's one of the biggest disservices of our healthcare system. Your pain is this incredible guidance. When you don't listen to pleasure, the universe gives you pain. That's it.
Yeah. And I'll go back to what we said a few weeks ago too. Pain, hurt, sadness, anger, all the negative emotions that people dislike or don't really want to, say they're not as good as, happiness, joy, and all that. These are all gifts. These are all gifts. And stress in and of itself, let's wrap this and reframe it. Stress is a gift for ourselves, the spectrum, and that ability to say, hey, here's when we're redlining and here's when we're like not even going fast enough, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, stress in and of itself, like what you said, there is a message to ourselves for us to go into the stress. So what I forgot to do is, hey, everybody who's joining, like put in between 0 and 10 a number of what is your level of stress right now. So just put it in the comments, like, I'm a 6, I'm a whatever. Go ahead and throw it in the comments. And then I want to, I wanted to drop into something real quick, just doing 3 literal quick breaths, 1, like 4 in the nose, 2 holding, and 6 out, Cody, just to get everybody on the same page. We got a 0. Nice. Somebody's at a 0. Cyberpunk's at a 0. We're gonna have some other numbers coming in. We got Facebook and everything else on here, so I can't see everything. But like I was a 6.5 today because, and I never got to meet my why, because I've had a lot of calls, a lot of breathwork sessions going on, but my email was stacking up, right? And I have past stories around making sure that my inbox is so small, but I'm letting go of that. And with this talking about stress, my stress has already gone down to a 4, just us talking, just you and I connecting on this, and that deep breath I did. So let's have everybody like, hey, just keep in mind with the stress. Let's just go in, and everybody just start to close their eyes. Just close their eyes. And I want you to breathe with me. I'm going to show you. We're going to do 4 in, holding for 2, 1, 2, and 6 out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in again. Hold for 2, 1, 2, and out for 6. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. Nice big deep breath in. Hold for 2, 1, 2, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now keep your eyes closed and check in. Ask your unconscious, ask yourself where there is any stress or tension in your body. Focusing only on your body from head to toe. Sometimes it's an image, a feeling, an expression, a thought, an idea, graphic. Whatever it is, just notice if there's any tension or deeper stress in your body. You can point to it, you can feel it out. And then one of the really fun things to do is, acknowledge the stress. Say, stress, I love you. Thank you so much. And what is the message you have for me right now? And just wait. Keep breathing. And see what you receive. Is there a message from your body? Is there a message from the stress helping you surrender and helping you understand your next best action to take, whether that is more breathing, relaxing, or hey, go do this thing instead of what you were going and doing? And just when you know you're ready, go and open your eyes, come back, keep breathing. Just check in, see how you're feeling. See if there was a message.
Yeah,
go ahead. What was yours?
Totally. I could feel what I felt first was the ball of energy in my chest. I tried to, say it's good or bad. I just felt the energy. But then I could feel what I saw was almost squiggles in my brain. It was moving back and forth really fast. Mm-hmm. And my sleep has been terrible. Like I've gotten really low sleep scores, and I'm realizing my brain is so busy. But the message was like, you're literally always going to have things to do. That never goes away. Like that's never going away, especially with what, we do and helping people and wanting to build business. And like, so it kind of made me go, so it's always going to be there. So like, no matter how much you do, it's always there. And it was quite relieving. It was like, okay, so let's just go do the things that are fun and enjoy your life also.
Yeah.
So that was the message.
Good. Anybody else, if you got a message, just go and type it in there if you want to share it. If not, just keep it to yourself. But like sometimes these simple activities can help us reduce anxiety, increase focus, and recharge the body within, I'm talking about minutes, like minutes a day. We just need to very, very much so, like, right, pause, slow down, and take a moment for ourselves. Anytime, and this is where it's kind of like on a car or a truck, there's a not a throttle, the governor. A governor is what, hey, the car is supposed to go to 130, but it governs it at 100. It's not going to let you go over 100. So identifying what's your governor going to be and what is that distinction in your body, right? As you're going through your day, if we get into automatic, right, the unconscious mind, we start working, we get into flow, things are happening. We tend to not eat, right? Not rest, not recover, not take a moment. We just crank through. Crank through. Very, very American thing to do. Just go right through and hustle, as they say, right? There's a lot of, and there's some gurus online. There's some followers that's like, you go work hard, crank it. And like, I don't believe that bullshit. I don't want to crank it and work hard and all that. I do want to work hard. And there's a time and a place to do that. And if we would tap into our inner power, in our divine power, and go about this in a different way, it's amazing that you don't have to work as hard, and your own power can start to make things happen. Now, we're all very different. Go ahead and go work your ass off if you really, really want to. And there's a time and a place. But knowing where that threshold is for you to say, okay, I'm getting basically, there's a line of point of no return of no unproductivity, right? You're going to be pushing yourself harder, and you may be working hard, but you actually getting the stuff done? Are you being efficient with your energy and your stress management? So identify the governor in that distinction. For me, it's when I feel confusion in my brain or in my body. Confusion. No, not a thumbs up.
Yeah, I know, right? How'd you do that?
No thumbs up on that. You just do this, and then
yours does it, mine doesn't.
Yeah, and then I do this. There we go. So right, I find, like, if I'm confused or if I'm like task switching a lot, I stop myself. Like, what are you effing doing, man? Come on. And I'll get out of my head and drop into my heart and do some breathing to get realigned on what's really important, because task switching is just one of the worst things you can do in terms of productivity. But when we're doing that, there's something's not right. And third, I look to, have I been eating right? Did I get the sleep? All those kind of things, like, are factors that tie into my day. And I kind of like the Garmin. The Garmin tells me, not that I go all on the data, but I go based on how I feel and the data. It tells me my body battery. And when it's not as full, I can go push myself and work out and all that stuff. But I also know, like, man, I may not have enough energy to sustain what I normally do. So I need to go outside some more. I need to go take a walk. I need to go, like, do a little bit more meditation and going inward. I find a absolute incredible distinction between the more I go within, the stress, the overwhelm, the confusion, the exhaustion begins to go lower. And I'll do a unique type of breath work that will then increase my energy without coffee, without a cold shower, all of that. And so it's a state change thing. So hopefully that makes sense about the governors. Like, throughout your day, understand where your body's at, and it's okay to take a break, and it's okay to go do the break that's then going to fuel you and get you more productive.
Yeah, like this concept of the governor and specifically really, really finding and able to listen. It's already built inside your body. Like, it's already wired in. And so it's one of the things I love guiding people towards, is actually getting to listen to your body. That's why I'm not a big fan of suppressing symptoms, because suppressing symptoms suppresses messages. Therefore, you can't and won't make changes. So people stay in businesses longer. I've stayed in relationships longer, not listening to symptoms, right? So you end up doing more damage. But there's a concept here. It's important, inherently designed and built in you. It's your nervous system. So we talk about two states of the nervous system. And this is part of duality of everything in life. You have sympathetic and parasympathetic. And sympathetic has always been called this fight or flight. It's when you're on and going. And then parasympathetic is when you're resting, digesting. It's when your body's repairing. So it's interesting, the balance of this all. When you are in sympathetic mode, like Aaron, you're talking about like crushing it in business and doing things. You're in sympathetic. That's sympathetic, like they're doing, okay? I want to make sure people hear this. When you are in your doing and you're sympathetic, you are destroying your body. This is the interesting dichotomy. Yeah. When you're in your parasympathetic, when you are resting and digesting, you're building your body, you're actually destroying your life. It's interesting. So when you're building your life, you're destroying your body. When you're destroying your life, you're building your body. When you're building your life, you're destroying your body. It's very interesting to look at this. So it may sound like some kind of like, oh my God, it's depressing, but it's not. Every single cell and tissue in your body is growing and dying. And that's part of how this reality functions. So it's interesting because there's a factor, or a health factor called HRV. And what HRV is your ability to recover. And when you get too far in sympathetic, there's symptoms and signs. That's why it's such an important thing to be able to like actually listen, because your body will give you many signs when you've gone too far. Like you said, confusion, high blood pressure, anxiety, these things will be there, right? But you can also be too far in the parasympathetic. You're going to start getting joint pains and inflammation inside your body because you're literally so acidic, you're not actually moving your body. So it's very cool to see it, that understand that, you don't have to be really mental about this thing at all. Like, it's already wired in you. If you tune in, like Aaron James, you just showed us, you tune in, take a dip and drop in, you will literally feel, people do this all the time. And I'll go, what do you feel? They're like, I'm exhausted. I'm like, yeah, you're exhausted. And they go, what should I do about that? Listen to it. But I got stuff to do. But when you do those things, you're going to override your body and end up not being able to keep doing those things. So I think it's important to really feel the gear shifts in your life. What gear am I in? And there's times where you do want to go and push it, and then times where you don't. Having said that, that's kind of a big concept of just tuning in to sympathetic and parasympathetic, and what mode is your body telling you really need to be in the current moment.
Yeah, beautifully said. Beautifully said, brother. So this is the internal part, right? Going internal and all that. One of the other things we talked about last night was, well, what are the self-care non-negotiables for yourself, right? I like the word non-negotiable. So I do enjoy routines, and in the way that I show up, or the way that I am, it's like, if I do the exact same thing over and over again every single morning, I kind of get bored of that. I need a little more variety. So like I say, well, I have my non-negotiables, but it doesn't necessarily mean I have to do it right at that time in that order. So I'll reorder them sometimes if I want to, but I'm pretty consistent. And so non-negotiables, right? Let's think about that. A lot of things you could do. There's only a few things that you should do, and I use this very specifically, that should, to maximize not only your day to be productive and get things done that you want to get done, but also to do things in a way that's in alignment for your higher self, for your ascendancy, for how you're improving every single day. I really live by Kaizen, which is like getting 1% better every single day, just a little bit every single day, just a little bit better than the day before. And so my non-negotiables, I'll just go ahead and start, Cody, is when I get up, I am definitely doing meditation. Go to the bathroom, brush teeth, whatever, real quickly, but get back to sitting or laying down, and I'm getting into deep meditation. Sometimes it's an hour, so I have it blocked for that, but other times it's a half hour, depending on what I have going on in the day. So that is stillness, silence, quiet, no guided meditation. Then depending on what I'm going for, I have these specific kind of modern, like warrior wake up things that I'll have, that I do, that have my voice and have music and all that. So I'll go through and listen to that as well, but I'm prepping my mind. Then I use 20 minutes of visualizing not only my day, but also the big goals I'm achieving, seeing myself having already achieved them and doing the mental rehearsal. So most of it's going to be here, but also feeling those things. And then it's moving my body, mobility, in the morning. So that's sort of my morning routine there. If I have my kitties, I play with the kitties and all that. But then the other non-negotiables are cold plunge. Either if I can't get to the cold plunge thing, it's cold water at some point in the shower for a minimum of a minute, and then making sure that I'm not only going to the gym but moving my body, but like getting outside. And I do something called Utaseta. Utaseta is an old Nordic term, a pagan, Viking term, and that is sitting outside with self. So going out and grounding myself, bare feet. Mm-hmm. We got snow on the ground in Utah, so that means snow, or you can do concrete if you want to. But Utaseta just gives me 5 to 20 to 30 minutes of just being outside, quieting the mind. And guys, this is a productivity booster that I've given to so many people, and you can do it. You start doing this stuff, it actually works, and you don't actually have to do this multiple times a day. You just 1 or 2 times a day, you're good. grounding yourself, connecting with nature, listening to the birds, listening to the trees grow, listening to the snowfall, whatever it is, even if you're in the city, just listening and connecting with the oneness in breath, in word, while still being connected to the outer world and grounded is like, those are my non-negotiables. I don't think I missed one, but I'm going to let you go next. So any questions on that or any thoughts on that?
I love, man, I love every one of those. You actually inspired me. I was making a note right now because I want to do a video about one of the ones you talked about, the science behind being in nature. There's a ton of science, and I kind of just wanted to dig in to like what you were talking about a little more, just so people have a little bit of like, I find when we have a why, we're more motivated to do these things. But I hike a lot in Colorado, and it's not because I'm like, oh my God, I love walking. I mean, walking's fine, but like I noticed when I go bring friends, I'm usually trying to hike to water, a waterfall or a lake or something like that. And I noticed on these many hikes that I've taken people on is people start talking in the beginning. And as we get closer to the water or the waterfall, the group starts lightening up and they start laughing. Watch this over and over and over again. So one day I was like, am I just making this up? So I looked at the science of it. And it's very interesting because water, waves, clouds, rain, waterfalls all produce negative ions in the air. And then it clicked. Oh my God. As we get closer to the water, it literally produces serotonin in your brain. And you just feel just more connected. You feel better. It's the good feeling chemical. So that's why when you go to the beach, you're like, wow, I just feel relaxed. Isn't that cool that that's inherently built in our planet? I think that's pretty intelligent that that's built in like that, right?
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
I mean, we're not meant to be in cities. We're meant to be out there in nature.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could also argue like, hey man, I can't get outside because it's like, you know, wherever you live, it's cold. There's been times where I've literally turned on the shower and just stood in the shower just because the water. Yeah.
Dude, same. Yeah.
Same. You know, water's water. You can argue that. But so I think that's an important piece to understand the why behind the nature. I've always felt that too. And it's not just water, obviously, because then you can look into the mountains and the trees and like, but one thing about nature is that it's in perfect equilibrium and it's already balanced. And if you look out, you know, the human mind looks out and goes, oh my God, the tiger killed the deer. But the universe is seeing a perfection, right? It's seeing the perfect balance. And so you're already looking at something in balance. So to put yourself, which might be out of balance, in something that's already balanced can naturally bring you into that state. So it's another piece of the science behind that as well. So I love all those. I think everything you said, and I like how you said it, non-negotiables. The very first thing, like this is such a cool thing. If you train yourself, try to tell yourself, listen, I'm going to wake up tomorrow. And the very first thing that I have to do, like I'm talking about, you just open your eyes, or maybe you don't even open your eyes. Maybe you just wake up. I try to make like milliseconds before me sort of being conscious and aware and trying to find what I appreciate. Like the closer I can get to that, the better my day is. So it's like, so I almost forget too. You kind of wake up and you're stretching like, oh, what I appreciate. And I just go all the things I appreciate in my life. And before you even open your eyes, it's like the best thing you could do. So that's number one. Number two is from a gentleman called Dr. Thurman Fleet. He was an incredibly aware individual in the 1930s. And he did a thing called law of movement. The law of movement is simple. Move every joint, every way, every day.
Nice. I like that.
Dude, it's profound. It doesn't say go to the gym, do CrossFit. It's not saying. So what does it look like? You literally take every joint and you move it every way you can until you feel it. If you do this in the morning, it will rock your world. And he was incredibly tapped into this universal consciousness. And one of the reasons he put this physical thing in there was because this body needs movement. And what's interesting is the movement itself, it stimulates circadian rhythms. So if you're getting up, sunlight does that, food does that, but the movement also indicates, hey, I'm ready to move my day. And so if you move your joints, so you literally move them until you feel them. That's it. You literally move until you feel it, different directions. And I will listen to a recording that I made of myself with my I am suggestions while I'm doing this.
Nice.
And man, I can tell you when I get up, my mind goes, I don't want to do this morning. It takes me 10 minutes, but it goes, I don't want to do this again. And then I have to literally force myself to turn it on. And then I start doing it. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. I move every joint, every day, every way. And of course, there's a ton of science behind that. But those are my non-negotiables. And then I have a few for sleep, because sleep's been such a big thing for me. Yeah. But don't eat or drink anything 2 hours before bed. When I violate that, I don't sleep well. Yep. I must have some kind of movement, whether it be lifting weights or some kind of exercise. I have to. I must
before
express.
Bed.
Yeah.
Like
throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I must express some type of creativity. It's interesting. If I'm not creative in some way, I'll be up all night.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So, and then the last piece is, I mean, it's unpopular for most people, but to put myself to bed on time.
Yeah.
And there's something that's very unpopular about this, but also very, very in alignment with what your body needs. Your body needs to know that it's going to get food on time and it's going to get rest on time. So those are my non-negotiables in there.
Oh, these are awesome. Everybody, if you're liking these, put like yes or cool or whatever. Just
or like
express
unpopular.
Yeah. These are all so good, right? Like, somebody said almost like you guys all read the same books, listen to the same podcast. Yep.
We probably wrote the books, and probably
some of them probably did. But we've been through a lot of this stuff. And one thing I will, though, is like, as far as hacks, because I did promise like some hacks and some changes, right? Ooh. Those are just us sharing what works for us. We all got to find what's that. And there's a big difference between say you're going to go do it and then being in integrity with yourself and actually fucking doing it. Like doing it consistently, being disciplined, or setting up for success. Put on, alarms, things like that, like to get you into habit, right? Getting it habitual. So easy for people to go say they're going to go do things, say they do it, but then not really do it, and then report to others that they do it. So be in integrity with yourself and go decide. My one big one, and one that I completely missed, but I want to really point out, is this. If you want to reduce stress, overwhelm, all the other things we talked about, high stress, all those kind of things. At nighttime, I put my phone on airplane mode.
Ooh, big.
Do not disturb zone as well. I mean airplane freaking mode. There's a mode. My favorite app on there is the airplane mode, because I'm shutting it off. I also shut off my Wi-Fi, so that's down.
Big.
But like the reason we do this, and I'm doing this on this 21-day Modern Warrior challenge that I'm doing for men. Now this also goes for women, but then in this particular one, I'm like, connect first, consume second. Listen up. Connect first, consume second. How many of us get right on this thing in the morning and begin consuming other people's stress, other people's agendas, other people's bullshit, other people's stuff? And then we take it on. And then now we just slept. We're connected to everything. We went in from delta to theta to alpha to beta in a waking state. And all of our brand new juice, our rejuvenated juice, is going to other people.
Wow. Nice one.
Being really serious with people right now, because if you turn that on airplane mode and set your life up so that you can do your prayers or your meditations without that. So I have an iPad that once I get up and all that, turn on I have an automatic timer for my Wi-Fi, but like my iPad can come on and I've got everything downloaded on it that I need to listen to. So like the recording, stuff like that. So I don't need to get online, right? Because we didn't used to have always online. So you can download stuff and have it on airplane mode still. Right. And so what I do is I connect first with myself, connect with my higher self source, like connect first. And then I'm setting a timer generally to write something, to create. So like you were saying, get creative in that day. I do it. I do my best to every day do that first, whether it's an email for my list or an idea that comes to me. I'll just surrender to like whatever's coming through. Sometimes, man, it's like a book idea. It's like, oh, you got to say this on the podcast. Just stuff comes through. When we open that channel right away and then begin expressing it, whether we're writing or typing it out, again, not connected, giving ourselves 30 minutes to 2 hours of the phones off, on do not disturb. Trust me on this, it'll drastically reduce your stress for your entire day. You do this, I challenge you to do this for just a week, 7 days. Do this in a row and start to write down your goals, start to write down your visions, whatever's coming through. Sometimes you do release writing. Put a timer on for 12 minutes and just write, get it out. Don't read it, throw it away. This is a beautiful time to connect first and consume later. And this is a game changer. So I'll get off my soapbox, but it's super, super, super important when coming to managing energy and stress.
Yeah, this is really a big one. So I put my phone in a different room because I just started seeing the same thing, and turn it on Wi-Fi and literally put it in a different room. There's so much behind this, but I want to capitalize on one other thing that you are also. It's kind of related, but I used to think it was baloney. Was the blue light from our phones and from our screens. And I can tell you, after building my Amazon company, I was on the computer for 13 hours a day. I went from being a chiropractor with no screens to having screens for 13 hours. And I got to tell you, I started feeling like my eyes would be strained. I became like watering, and I'm rubbing them and like have a slight little headache. And I finally got that's what these are, blue blocker glasses. And I got to tell you, I have no eye strain. So like, if you go online and you look this up, you'll find that the popular media like NBC and those kind of things tell you that they don't work, and that's it's BS.
I agree.
Yeah, they work really well. And so if you are scrolling on your phone at night, like before you go to bed, get yourself $20, $30, $40 pair. They're cheap, blue blocker glasses, and try them. I have my little daughter. When we watch movies, we wear this together because I want her to sleep. But blue light to stimulate. So just understand that circadian rhythm, you have literally a clock inside your brain that you have an internal clock. Have you ever noticed sometimes you could actually, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to wake up at 5:00 tomorrow, and you'll wake up. You literally have an internal clock, but that clock is wired to the universe. It's wired to the sun. Yeah. It's also wired to when you get food and movement. And so blue light stimulates as if you're getting sun. So your brain thinks it's morning time. So just understand that there's a lot of science behind this, but you don't have to go through and reach the science. Just get the glasses and watch what happens. This makes a huge difference for that. So anyway.
Big time. And the one thing that I've done as well, now, not all my lights, but I got Govee lights, Govee, on timers. Like they will go out, they'll take away the blue light. They'll be on low like frequency. So I have different moods. And then that way I've also got my glasses at nighttime, and I make sure I'm not on computer or the screen like, an hour or two before. Sometimes I got to check something or plan something, but it's really quick. So really, really wonderful one. So Dr. Cody, we've been through a lot. We've been through a lot on stress and energy. Let's recap. Let's just paint the picture. I know we've got some people kind of, jumping on just now, and we're going to do more of these every Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. MST, and then at 3:00 MST, you and I go on. And we're going to be really, really consistent with this. And again, we want comments, we want questions. Please ask us about some things you want us to talk about. But I wanted to reframe. So spectrum of stress. Stress is always here. We're always in stress. But what we're saying in the high scheme of things, because we're always under stress, being cognizant, we talked about being aware, Dr. Cody, aware of where you're at in the body, where stress is trying to communicate to you as a gift. Hey, we're redlining too far, or this side, and we're in the clear here. So becoming aware of the stress, and then listening to the body, taking those moments to pause, and learning where stress is guiding us as a gift. Anything else to add, to summarize and help wrap this up?
I think it's important. I think one of the next many conversations we should have is about your values, because there's a few things I want to tap into. What you said was incredible, but it's interesting because one of the other things that creates a lot of stress for people is you mentioned something important. You said what you could do, what you should do. I'd like to add one more. What you could do, what you should do, what you are naturally inspired and want to do.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's leave that as a teaser. What you could do, what you should do, and what you actually want to do.
Yep.
And because there's a few of those that if you follow those, you will be stressed all the time. And there's one of them that if you sit inside those, you need no guidance, you need no reminding, you need nothing, no external motivation. It's intrinsic. So I think it's one of the conversations we should have.
Damn, you're just cliffhangering it right now because I've like all of a sudden a bunch of stuff I want to say, but I'm not going to because we're almost we've been on like
It's
for 50 minutes.
It's called an open loop. You guys have watched Netflix?
People.
Yes, Netflix. We're now part of this the Aaron James flicks where we're opening the loop. There is one important thing you must know. Yeah.
You're just like, no, I have to wait to watch this. Frustrating. So good. I love it. Bro, that was so fun. I love you. Big hugs. Everyone, thanks for listening and watching and commenting. We're look forward to doing another one. I'm gonna jump on a breathwork thing here, and actually I might come back on and do a little hypno thing. Feeling inspired. So dude, we'll be on next time. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you. Bye everybody.
See you guys later.